Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I have a very interesting video here. This time working on hybrid BMW 5 Series. I am actually working on two hybrids. That's a 7 Series and this is a 5 Series. I want to show you because that one is actually obviously, as you can see, lifted, and I'm doing some tests that I want to share with you. And this is on the other hybrid. Whenever you're doing any work on these vehicles, you gotta make sure that you disconnect the batteries and also the safety disconnect for the battery itself. For the hybrid battery, you have to make sure that you put something in here so nobody can come and close it, so you are protected. Those are safety precautions for yourself, because you're going to be the one working on these. You don't want to get electrocuted, right? All right, so going in the vehicle, this customer came because 2 days ago here in Virginia, well, Maryland, we have a very big storm. I mean, almost like tornado warning, and we had hail and everything. It was really, really, I mean, scary. He was driving a car and he went through, a portion of the road covered in water that he immediately got a drivetrain malfunction. He called the tow truck and then got the car here. I was doing some tests on the car, and the first uh, faults that I got, let me take you over there. As though it's going to be a little blurry because I was doing tests on the vehicle. This is again, as you can see, a F10 Series 5 2015, and it's an active hybrid engine N55. Not that really matters for, well, it matters for the setup. And that 7 Series uses the same engine. It's an M55 engine, same alternator starter, same thing. So these are the faults that I got when the car came here. I got the electric machine rotor position sensor. And one of the concerns that we had when we got the car first here in the shop is that the car started, but it didn't move. But then later on the night, uh, it, the staff was able to bring the car in the shop, and then I was able to just move it from one of the bays to my bay, and I have it now lifted. So I'm like, well, it's running, even though I have the chicken in life, so let me see what it is, right? So I went in, check all the fault codes. These were the ones that brought my attention immediately. I have more faults. I can go back to the previous page. As you can see, there's a total of 35 faults. This car was here not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, and no faults. He did have some water intrusion in the trunk. We repaired that, and since then, the car was working perfectly after that water problem with the rain, right? So this is what I was testing. As you can see, we got 35 faults. Nothing is showing as present except for this one right here, permanent SAE fault code saved. Uh, Let me see if I have any other active code. Let's go back to the previous page. Nothing is active. And that sometimes happens when you don't have the engine running, right? On BMW. For those that are not familiar, that's usually what happens. If you want to have it present, you have to start it unless it's a hybrid vehicle and it's on the hybrid side. So yes, I was doing this, and then I'm starting to, gather all my information. I like to always, analyze the data and then give the correct recommendation to the customer. So this is just, I'm going to go a little fast on this one because those are just history. How many times is this happening? If it's a fault solution counter of 40, that means it's pretty much active. It has not been started to heal by itself. That's frequency 5. That's the same frequency counter. I'm just again gathering information, and then I move from here to start doing a test. All right, so I'm running the test for this fault 22305 electrical machine rotor position sensor plausibility target to current position implausible. Their rotor position is built into the e-machine, which is the generator motor on the transmission. I will show you pictures of how that looks right here, right? So we got the automatic transmission with the e-machine. This is the e-machine. All right, so we can see the number 2 right here, or number 3, actually, not number 2. Number 3 is the e-machine or electric generator. That's just the way BMW calls it. So I'm also looking at the e-machine with rotor motor position. So I'm looking into these sensors, and I want to see where they are located. Do I have to use a Picoscope to get to those signals, right? I'm just trying to gather information. So I found a test plan. Nice thing about BMW, they give us test plan. So I was in the middle of just, getting identification. This is also for the customer. All this is for the customer. So we can see all the phases, and this is the EME, which is electrical machine electronics, right here, number two, right? The battery on this vehicle is in the trunk. Oh, I went a little fast on that. This is the rotor position sensor with a temperature sensor. It has grounds and then obviously signals and fiber reference or whatever the e-machine electronics supplies to it. So I was ready to start doing the test, at least the functional tests. I'm gathering all the information to see where I need to go to do tests and this, and where is the connecting, for that sensor, where connector is goes to the machine, which is the E90 3B, A90 3B right here. So this is not an orange. So okay, I'm okay. I can work with that with like without being shot. But obviously, when you're working around any of the electronics that are in the hybrid, you are supposed to check for installation. So you do at least use a meter with your hybrid gloves. Make sure that you have hybrid gloves and you check it for seal. So you roll the same glove and then make sure that it's not going to get deflated. That's a safety for, again, don't get killed. So yes, I am gathering information. I'm doing all this, and then it's telling me what the ohms on the position sensor should be on here, US and all this, right? So I'm looking for that. And then while I'm pressing in here, I'm taking pictures for the customer, and I notice immediately the communication got disrupted. I should have the entire picture. I don't know why I just was able to catch that, but I thought it was my scanner losing communication, which is not uncommon because, sometimes BMW, you get connections online and disrupt for a second. So I thought that was it, right? So, but then no position. And now, and this, the engine is running. I'm like, okay, the engine is running, and then okay, let me bring the car down, let me turn the engine off, and then set the ignition back on and reconnect everything. But then when I'm doing that, I noticed that the fan was running with just the ignition on. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So I run now the test, and let me take you over to ISTA. ISTA is not connected. This is just the history. So let me close this, and then go over to the falls. Again, I'm going to show you that this is indeed D221058, same vehicle, 2015, and these were the faults that happened when I had that loss of communication. Fan running on high and no communication with the e-machine. So the e-machine electronics, if I go back in here, this is a capture of that moment. When you're working with the original ISTA connected to them website, everything will show in green, even though it has faults. I don't know what sometimes my laptop did that, but yeah. But then when you have that kind of like brown or yellow color, it's a computer that has no response. Blue it means computer with about programming and computer not fitted. So you can see what is that means in there. So again, I selected present distances, and yeah, this is the last distance, and all those faults were present. Yes, 100%. No message, receiver DME, transmitter EME, again, electrical machine electronics. So every other single module is complaining, where are you? So I'm like, okay, based on his concern, which was going through a big amount of water, I'm like, okay, I might need to do remove all the connectors and then make sure that we have water intrusion on any of the connectors because this is watertight but not waterproof. So yes, you can have water going into the connectors and then creating a situation like that if you are on submerged, right? So and I didn't know because I was not with the car, so I'm like, okay, I cannot take just like a splash of water. Let me think of like the worst because looking at the covers, and this is the transmission cover, I can see a lot of sand in here and where you can see the water going everywhere, right? So I'm like, okay, this is not looking good. But I did disconnect everything. I'm going to show you also. And let me put the phone in the tripod, and I'm going to show you what you need to do also. Again, I already use my electrical hybrid gloves, and I check make sure that this is not with power in here. Is it because I mean if this is shorted, we have this is the connector goes from here to the battery. This is the connector that goes from the e-machine electronics over to the motor, and then we have another wire in here. This one, this other one goes over to the AC compressor, and this is just a 12-volt battery to to start a car or keep the charging the 12-volt system, because the electronics on the computers is 12 volts. All right, so I know I'm going sometimes a little fast, so if you have any comments or questions on these, please just do it. I will help you as much as I can. I'm going to show you as much as I can, as far as information. Again, this is for technicians only. If you have not taken a hybrid class, don't do anything. This is for people that has training, because you will put your life in risk. You don't want to do any touching, anything if you're not 100% sure of what you're doing. If you do anything, it's on your own risk. You're the one who's going to die. So be careful. Don't do, as long as if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Okay, so these are safety disconnects. So before you can disconnect this cable, right? I already checked. I know I have no power, so that's why I'm not wearing gloves. Let's just think that I'm wearing gloves. So I will remove this safety disconnect. It's a little hard to do with just one hand. Again, I'm using my phone to record, so I cannot do this. Let me put you in the tripod. I'll be right back. All right, you guys are in the tripod right now. I'm trying to get some light in here so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe right there. Let me put the camera here so you guys can see. So again, this is just a safety disconnect. So you have to obviously pull the tab, and this will close two contacts. There is two pins in here that this will close and allow the computer to know that this is being disconnected. So if by any reason somebody's trying to work in here and disconnect this, and it hasn't disconnect that connector on the trunk that I show you on the 7 Series, and put that tire or a lock. If you go over to a hybrid class, they tell you to use a lock with a key so nobody else can open it. The car is in the air, nobody can do nothing in here. So let me put this away. So yeah, now that you do that, you can pull the connector. Again, this is, yes, that's it. Now it is covered. So you see this cover has to cover that. And now you can remove the plug. This is just to hold the cable here. But yeah, you can see these are the connectors that goes to the battery. Just lost the metal clip inside the plastic one. This is just for here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. But so yeah, that's how you have that disconnected. It's the same thing on the front. Let me move the light here. So this is the other connector. This goes from the electronic machine computer over to the motor generator electronic machine. I mean, it's just too repetitive of BMW names. But so yeah, I am seeing a little bit of corrosion right there on this connector. You see that? So that definitely means this car was underwater, because you can see corrosion here. Hopefully the camera is picking up really good. I hope so. Sometimes it's very hard to show everything that you want to share in a video. But yeah, so you can see the corrosion right there. I don't see corrosion in the terminals. I did see a little bit, sorry to keep moving back and forth. I do see a little bit of a like moisture signs in there, but nothing that I can see corrosion, because usually when you have electricity and corrosion, it gets that green crusties. I don't see that here. Now the communication lines on this machine electronics happens on here. And as you can see, this connector is nice and clean. Let me get the light. I took it off. Let me put my headlamp. And then I had an extra light for you guys. But yeah, so this is nice and clean. I do see, as you can see, a lot of sand in here. So water was here. So again, this is watertight, but not waterproof. I don't see anything corrosion wise in here. I don't see any, well, I didn't see when I removed it, any water. The car was sitting for 2 days, so it's hard to say. But yeah, this is what we have here. So there is two things that I want to share with you. I want to do and use for this the Picoscope Million Motor Tester. This is a new tool from Pico. It's the MT038, again, Million and Motor Tester. The nice thing about this tool from Pico, it has a thermometer built into the not built in, probe, a temperature probe that you can use to do the test. Let me move this screen over to the actual Picoscope tester. Test. You have to download the software. It's completely separate. You don't need Picoscope uh, oscilloscope. This is a completely separate tool. Okay. So what we're doing now is, and you're gonna ask me, how do you know where to connect each? Because if you go over to Picoscope software, you're gonna be measuring U to V, V to W, W to U, and then reading the temperature. So I went over to ISTA. If I go over to ISTA and I go over to troubleshooting, component structure, I went over to the e-machine electronics, and then wire diagrams, SSP. I double click on that. Okay, that's right here. That looks like the motor, right? Okay, perfect. That's the e-machine motor. So this is the connector that I'm looking for to see where the phases are, because this is telling me B, U, and W. Perfect. So it tells that B goes to 1, U goes to 3, and W goes to 2. But there is no numbers on this side of the connector, but there is numbers in here. So if we see right in there, you see what it says 1, 2, and 3. So all I did is use continuity tester and then just put, the probe on the front. And then now I know that number 1 is in the center, number 2 is on the right side here, and then number 3 on the opposite. So number 3 should be going into the green, which is green is B. So if we go over to Pico, green is B. Oh, do I have that wrong? W is, so B is yellow. B is yellow, so I had this wrong. So let's go again, because I actually had let me see, was I right or what? Let me just go back, because now I got confused because I didn't see. So number 3 is U. Number 3 is U, and U should be blue. So yes, I got this completely wrong here. Let me reconnect this. So U should be into 3, which is right here. I'm sorry guys, but yep, we have to do this right. So U is the blue channel, and U is in the 3 pin. Number 2 pin, which is W, is the green. So number 2, this should go over to number 2, and number 2 is right here on the side, based on my continuity. And then last, I'm gonna have to, oops, sorry, just drop that cable or let it go. And then we're going to connect the yellow into the number 1 pin. So yellow into the number 1 pin. Yellow should be B, and yellow is B. So now we are fine. So one more time, U is on the blue, which is pin 1. No, sorry, which is pin 3. U, blue, pin 3. So left side. Yes, we are left side. So we are 2, 1, and 3. We already checked the yellow, and we know the green one is number 2. So green one number 2, W, green one number 2, W. Correct. All right, so we are good. And that's how I find out how to connect that. And I was actually wrong. my first test, but that's right. That's good. Let's see. These was the results that I got with the first test based on that temperature. Let's rerun the test. This is very easy test. What you can just click the space bar, and this is showing you how it's doing the test. So it's checking the phases, checking the temperature, and now doing the test from blue to yellow, and then yellow to blue. Now yellow to green. You can see and then green to yellow. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. And then the last blue to green, and obviously green to blue backwards. And now it's going to give me the results. Perfect. So we got good results. All phases compared to each other are good. So as far as resistance in between the phases of the motor is good. So we're not having any problems in here. All right, guys. The next test, as you can see, I removed the Picoscope from there. I mean the Picoscope million tester from the way, so we got more clarity, so you guys can see better. So the next test that I want to do and I want to share, I mean, I already did it, but I want to share it with you, is the um, insulation test. Because we don't know exactly what is going on here. So before I condemn just the e-machine electronics, this is just for the um, temperature probe that I have in there, so it didn't fall. You want to put that always the temperature coupler closest to the component you're checking. It was a little hard for me to put everything in here, so I just put them in there around the same temperature in the room, right? So not too bad. All right, so the next test that I want to do is the insulation test. So for this, again, you want to use your hybrid gloves. Make sure that you're wearing eye protection. Make sure that I am getting in there too. You guys can see me while I'm talking, right? All right, so let me check. If you're using these Fluke 1587, make sure that when you turn them on, if you're turning off completely and it gives you a battery error or something, all you need to do is press the button for the insulation and then go from off to the first two and then release it and it works perfectly. Voltage wise, I want to do the test in 250 volts. Why? Because this battery is 317 volts, so 250 should be a good range for the test, right? So first check your equipment. Make sure that you are indeed getting good readings. So the first thing you want to do is go next to your ground point and then press, do the test. As you can see, we're 1 volt and it's completely zero point 0.0 ohms. So it's a direct short. And that's what you're looking for. So direct short, right? Let me put the light so just in case. So we're going to go over to the first phase in here. Again, this is, if you want to know, I'm actually on the left side. So that would be pin, we got 1, 2. So pin 2 is, so W phase. I'm in W phase and I'm going to press, hopefully you guys can see that. 263 volts, 275 million ohms. That phase is good. It's not shorted. Let me stop the video. I want to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm doing. Be right back. All right, yeah, looks like you guys are in very good position. All right, so now we're going to check the pin 1, the one in the center, which is phase B. And you're expecting to have very close results. So I'm trying to get you the best of worlds. Hopefully you guys can see there. With this tester, you can press in here and it will do the same thing. It's a little hard to do with the gloves, so I'd rather do like this and then press in here. But we can see 263 volts, 275 million ohms. So same result. And now we're going to go over to the last one, right? Same result. So that is a perfect result. That's what you're looking for. You can also check the wires. I'm not suspecting installation issues on the wires. I'm more suspecting a problem right now here. This is good. Um, I check for continuity. We're good. We can check, and this is what you want to do is just go like this, and then you can, if you want, go from one pin and then do the same test. And as you can see, it's nothing in there. We can do the other test. So the next one, same result, and then same result. So it's no problem on the installation. If you would be able to show me right there, direct short. All right, so the next test that I want to do is also on the e-machine, and we can just do here. Again, we can just put them in the e-machine. We got the same three connectors. Let me get the light a little down so you guys can see a little better. But yeah, all you want to do is the same test that we just did here. We're going to do it in the machine. I want to share the results because obviously here we're not going to have the same 275 million ohms because this is different circuitry, but we have to have million ohms. So 8 more than 5 is good. And you want to hold it, especially when it's like in here, you want to hold it, and they recommend you to do it at least 1 minute, and we can see how the resistance is starting to increase as we give it more time. So 9.1, 9.2 million ohms. And believe me, I did the three phases and it's the same. I did the same check on the back and it's the same. So this is definitely not a shorted on those hybrid wires. It looks like we have a problem with the machine. So I'm going to do more testing. I just wanted to share this test with you and also share the precautions that you have to have when you're working on these systems. Um, your safe, your safety is first. Think of what you're working on. Don't hurt yourself. If you don't have the equipment, if you don't have the gloves, and you don't want to invest in that, don't work on these cars. Just don't work on it. Period. Because this will kill you. This, with everything connected, if you touch any of the wires or the wires are shorted, insulation is being compromised. That's you're talking about, 317 volts, and that can give 80, 100, 200 amps. It will kill you. This is not a joke. So please be careful. If you're a technician working on this, take the time to read, take the time to take training. We are actually taking a training on the shop this Saturday, and we're trying to promote with the shops around so they can come and get trained with us. Not that we're doing the training, some instructors are coming, but we're all master technicians here. We know what we're doing. Yes, we can definitely train others, and that's what I'm also trying to share here. This is a way to train you to make you a better technician, to remove the myth from working on hybrids. Yes, you do have to be careful when you're doing in this. As if you have not taken again a class, don't do it. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. But if you are good at electronics, you understand that after you remove the disconnects, if you check and always do the check with one hand, make sure that your ground is grounded in there. You're going to use the meter and start touching with your hybrid gloves, and there is no power. I mean, I can put my tongue in here, nothing is going to happen. You don't want to spin the wheels because if you spin that engine and that motor, this will have power, right? Because this produces with the movement of the motor, it will have, power. If you go over the battery and you open the battery, I mean, yes, you're looking for trouble. But if you're working on these sections, it's completely safe as I show here. All right, guys, I don't want to take much longer of your time. Thank you so much for visiting the channel. If you're looking to if you're close to Maryland or Virginia, Pennsylvania, you want to come over and visit us right here in Bavarian Motor Repairs, Capitol Heights. We got Natalie and Steve right there on the back. Say hi, you're in the video. That's Steve and Natalie. We have the shop. This is Charlie's Q. He's the parts guy. He's actually helping in the office because one of our service advisors is off today. But yeah, this is a very beautiful shop. Nice air conditioning. We had Andrew right there. He's talking with one of our customers in here. He's showing the shop around. And then, like I said again, very nice. If you are again looking for a good shop, this is the best period you can get around. We take the time to train our techs, to train ourselves, to show the value of our testing to the customers. We record pictures, photos, everything. No hiding information for the customers. You will know exactly what we're doing. You will see the results. If you want to go in depth and really understand what we're doing, you can. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.